It's time to kick it old school, turn the clocks back, break the rules. When the pixels pop and the world was cool, we're taking it back, that's how we roll, we roll. It's time to kick it old school, where the beats are fresh, the tech was gold. From arcades, TV shows that ruled, you know we're kicking it old school. MTV playing our favorite jams, moonwalking with MJ, Neon Slam, Ghostbusters gear, we're ready to go. Chasing slasher scenes, fears in tow. Back to the future, hop in the DeLorean. Knight Rider cruising, man, there's no ignoring them. Battlestar Galactica, what a ride. Looney Tunes, antics, pure joy inside. Blockbusters ruled, we lined up for days. Video games booted up in their pixelated maze. Movie marathons and popcorn nights, we ruled the screen, living in the lights. It's time to kick it old school, turn the clocks back, break the rules. When the pixels pop and the world was cool, we're taking it back, that's how we roll, we roll. It's time to kick it old school, where the beats are fresh, the tech was gold. From arcades, TV shows that ruled, you know we're kicking it old school. Grab your joystick, the game's about to start. A high-score world, now that's an art. We're cruising on hoverboards, living our dream. Old school forever, we're igniting the scene. It's time to kick it old school, turn the clocks back, break the rules. When the pixels pop and the world was cool, we're taking it back, that's how we roll, we roll. It's time to kick it old school, where the beats are fresh, the tech was gold. From arcades, TV shows that ruled, you know we're kicking it old school.
Today's episode is brought to you by PTZ Optics. Disability upgrades. New Wave Toys and their Replicate Amusements products. GG Retrobox. Get 3 to 5 games from your favorite series, consoles, and game genres delivered to your doorstep every month with GG Retrobox, the ultimate retro gaming subscription box for video game enthusiasts. Use code GRS15 at checkout to get 15% off your first box. And
Boom shakalaka! Hey everybody, it's Tim Kitzer here, the voice of some of your favorite video games like NBA Jam and NFL Blitz. And I'm here to talk to you about Old School Gamer Magazine. It's the magazine for retro gaming, and it's exploding. Kaboom! Print issues come out every other month, and if you want to go green, digital options are available. Visit oldschoolgamer.com and subscribe now. That's oldschoolgamer.com. Boom shakalaka! Kaboom!
Kaboom! And welcome to Kickin'it School on Friday. Thank God it's Friday. I don't know who coined that term, honestly, but man, did they get it right. We have on tonight the one, the only, Video Game Vegas. Video Game Vegas, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Glenn, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Hopefully we got audio and it's not echoing and people can hear me and you, because you all know my channel. If anything, usually have some audio problems. So people in the chat, let me know real quick if the sound is good for me and good for Video Game Vegas over there. Looks like people are not complaining. That's good. That's good.
Very good.
So we'll go through real quick. We go through, as always, to welcome people in the chat. Sounds good to me. Meatball Saucy. All right, so he gets the first shout out tonight. So, of course, we have Jason, our resident moderator here, and every channel on YouTube. How this guy gets around, I don't know, man. We also have Upkus here. We have GLS Gaming from Florida. How you doing, bud? We have J-Rod. We have Adam Caleb here as well. Gramps Arcade. Sorry, Gramps Arcade. Get that right. RM McCrae 114 is here. Hank Perry is here. Dan Z, as always. Stephen M. Of course, Meatball Sauce gets a second shout out. We have J-Rod Paul Berry is here as well. Hobby Hands is here every week. Brooklyn Menace, my friend. Got to talk to you, bud. We have to catch up a little bit. Happy Friday to you as well. Michael B. the Game Genie. Hey, Glenn. Video Game Vegas. And the chat. FU. That's right. We'll talk a little bit about FU. I have some news about FU you guys might be interested in, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe. Who else? We have Video Game Vegas in the chat. So if you have any questions for him, man, make sure you do put it in the chat. Put a little asterisk next to it. You know, it's a question to pick up here. Hollywood Podol is here as well. We have Michael B. Of course, I got him. I think we got everyone. Going down real quick. Make sure I don't miss anyone. Oh, PB and J is here. Happy Friday. Green Sammy 87. Sound is good. We have God, I can read this right. Chaotic BPR. Someone's got to get some glasses. Hopefully I got the right. Goofy Foot is here as well. Retro Eric and B Kirby here, the Chicago arcade guy. And I think we got everyone right now in the chat. So we'll stop it there for now. If you want your name called out, just get in early, and we'll get you called in on the initial people coming in. So, Video Game Vegas. I've known you for quite a bit of while, and I want to have you on. You actually did post a video just recently, but I want to have you on anyway. Just because he writes emails, they're like a book long. I just found out literally right before the show why. He's like a genius with English language. He's like, tell us about your education, because again, you write beautiful things. I don't know, they're like books, but they're awesome. So tell us about what your personal life is before we get into your YouTube career.
Yeah, so I actually graduated college as an English major, and so I love to write. And I was going to be a science fiction writer, and wrote some science fiction, and never finished the great American novel, as a lot of us in college did want to. But I used that writing skill first for music and tried to be the great rock star. I actually produced 5 albums under 2 different bands, and I started, I guess, the social media on MySpace because it was a musical. Yeah, this is before Facebook, and when Facebook came out, you couldn't get on it because it was only a collegiate thing. And by that time, I was out of college. but I did MySpace because it was a music. It was geared towards music, and so but never really went anywhere with that. But I'm more of a guy who just likes to create. My bands really didn't like that because I didn't do music to stand up on stage and perform and all that. I just wanted to create, and it was really kind of cool to get on YouTube and actually be able to do that. And what pushed me to actually create on YouTube was the fact that the YouTube bots decided that they were going to randomly start deleting comments. And I'm very, very careful of what I write in comment sections. So it was kind of weird, but I just found out that it was an AI or a program that was doing
The
it.
bots.
And yeah, it just had to keep growing, but still, even one that I sent the Rexer show didn't go through to him, which I'll give him a shout out tonight. What we discussed, but yeah, so I decided, okay, well, I could still share with people via YouTube by just making a video or two. And my I didn't approach YouTube as the rock star, like the I wanted to get famous or anything like that. I just wanted to continue to share with people and one on one. And when I put my first videos up, which was the first two videos I put up, I basically did it to at least have one view. That's all I wanted, and that's all I ever want actually on any video I put up. It's just I want to at least have someone be able to see it. And I figured if I did put my first video up and it sat up there for a few months and didn't even get a view, I could always take it down, no harm, no foul. But ever since I've been on, I've been able to get a view on every single video, and so that's been really kind of cool to me. So, but I never asked for subscribers or anything like that. It's a cool thing that I think that happens, but it just wasn't my main motivator. I just wanted to share with people, and luckily I found so many cool friends here on YouTube, and I've been able to talk to a lot of people and still send comments once in a while. But yeah, I just love being able to share and have fun with the home arcade community.
I just pulled up. I've been trying to do it. My Stream Deck wasn't working. It's always something. So this is his channel right here. Make sure you guys go over and subscribe. I'll put a link down to his channel in the chat. It's already in the show notes. But he really does really good videos. I mean, they're all thought out. They're produced very well. Everything mine's not. So if you want the opposite of what I do, go check out Video Game Vegas. And he actually just posted a video just yesterday, right? The view of the
Yes.
Ike games. Is it the 4K?
Yes, they're 4KP. Yes.
And my stupid thing works here. Is it going to work? Is it going to work? There we go. Yay. Okay, it's working again. Always some type of technical malfunction. So that's good. I mean, it's always good to go into this. You never know what you're going to expect anyway. You may post one video and it goes viral. You may post a video you feel is going to do really well, and it doesn't, hence most of mine. But, just do what you like. Just put the effort in. And like I said, you speak very well, and you have a very good speaking voice. And again, you write the stuff out really well, and you have very good points when you go through it. You have your pluses and your minuses as you go through it. So if you guys are not subscribed to Video Game Vegas, do go over there, throw them a thumbs up, give them a like, give them a subscribe. So what would you like to still do? I mean, obviously, like I said, you post videos once in a while. What is something you want to review that you haven't done yet?
A review or
Whatever you want. Review, talk about something.
yeah, I definitely it's crazy. When we first met, it was interesting because I had clicked on. I was like, this is an interesting video. It was recommended to me, and I'm going, this is interesting. It's a live stream, and I clicked on it, and I get this video of a bunch of people playing games in like a garage or something. I'm going, this is weird. This is absolutely weird. Why would they recommend this to me? So I went and I clicked on your channel, and I went, wow, this guy's into these little home arcade machines that I grew up with playing, and I have a bunch of them, and I had been collecting them over the years, and so I just kept watching, and I reached out and I said that I wanted to that I love the fact that you were taking them apart and building them into these little main machines. And I thought that's as far as the hobby would ever go. I thought me and Glenn were going to talk about these really cool things, and then all of a sudden, this one video comes up from a guy named Cool Toy, and he's talking about this new arcade one up thing, this 3/4 scale cabinet. And I'm going, what the heck is this? And
The good
so,
old
uh,
days.
yeah, and then you started talking about it, and then we all just started chatting about how exciting this new world was going to be with these new 3/4 scales where you could actually stand up to arcade machines. And then what was interesting is then I ran into another person, P Dub's Arcade Loft, and he was doing the same thing. He was giving this news. I'm going, man, all these people are getting excited about these new smaller arcade machines, and
Doesn't
this is
take
the
much to get us excited these days. We're older now, you know. Doesn't take
yeah.
much.
Because the thing is, I mean, a lot of us had started out in this hobby with a multicade,
Right.
and we just wanted the one machine, and everything was great. And I bought my first machine from a company called Hanaho Games, and they did make real arcade machines for Sega and Capcom in the arcade. And they decided to branch out and create their first multicade. And I'll tell you how old this multicade was. It actually had a CRT, and it had the it had a two joysticks, six action buttons on each side, but it connected with PS1 ports, like the round circular ports for keyboards and mice.
Right.
And
Right.
so you would daisy chain it through this thing, and you could plug a computer in, and it was great. And something always felt missing. Like I love this thing, but it's all I'm ever going to have. And I never thought about having a home arcade because these things are way too heavy and big. And
Right.
I mean, back when I was a kid, I always wanted a home arcade, but I never thought about more than one. But once I finally got this Hanaho cabinet and felt how big and heavy it was, it's like, I'm not getting any more of these things. And so when Arcade One Up came along, uh, you and I and Cool Toy and a lot of the community really thought that this company was there to really celebrate these amazing games that we grew up with, and they came up with a way for a lot of us to be able to enjoy this hobby instead of going to a couple very niche channels like John's Arcade, which I really love, and we just lived vicariously through them because there was no way we were going to be able to fit 30 arcade machines in our house. And but the problem is that, I also got to talk with the CEO of Arcade One Up way back in the day before they had a real help desk, and I was continually talking back and forth with him and their head of engineering, and they made it sound like, yes, we love arcade machines. You guys are going to be so blown away, but as time went on, we found out that
We
that
were
was not
raped.
the case.
We got raped.
Exactly. Star Wars came out, and I seriously thought, Glenn, when Star Wars came out, this was the turning point. They finally figured out the magic bullet. Here we go. We're going to get all these amazing machines. They're going to work. They're going to be awesome. And that was the last arcade that they made that they really went that extra mile. They really did that. The rest,
They
it was
they
just
were on a
basically,
path. They started to go on a path where they had the Star Wars, they had the Tron, ripped off my stuff, but still Tron. Blitz wasn't a big hit. They were getting some nice machines. Now they just keep going back to Pac-Man and the playing cabinets. What do you feel? How do you feel about that now? They were kind of doing something there, and now I know Michael B is annoyed because he wants the little recreations that with the artwork on them. But how do you feel about that? They've kind of fallen so far from grace. Do you agree?
absolutely. And this is the thing, is that the last arcade cabinet I bought from Arcade One Up, I purposely bought to not play it. I bought it for the shell because I wanted this unique shell, which was Time Crisis. And I went to a company called Buy Stuff Arcades and bought their mod kits. And I bought the box that they recommended, although I will never do business with those guys again. They
Yeah.
treated me pretty badly. But you don't have to plug in their box. There's all sorts of other things that you could plug into the Bicep arcades. But I bought their Time Crisis because I just wanted a shell,
Right.
and I really got very disenfranchised every time I would get an arcade one up and just see that they really did not care a lot about the quality, that we really wanted to celebrate these games. And I'm not saying that everything they've done is bad. They're the ones that got me into this hobby, because I would have never had a home arcade if it wasn't for two factors. One was Arcade One Up, and the other was Glenn's Retro Show. And I say that with, I'm telling you, Glenn, if you did not come up with that spinner, my first Arcade One Up would have been my last, because I was so, I mean, my, not to spoil the review, but to spoil the review, the only one I will spoil because it is my first, was the Atari Deluxe 12-in-1, which it was the only deluxe they had with a riser. But the spinner was so bad that I said, screw this. And I went to a company called Rec Room Masters and bought one of their generic 3/4 scale that they were going to compete with Arcade One Up, and skin it. And I skinned it as a berserk. But the thing is that if you did not come up with that spinner, that would have been the end. I was done. I was like, okay, they gave us this little spark of what could be, but yeah, we're done. I'm not
And
gonna
that's the
I'm not
thing
gonna play this
too.
game.
When they first came out, obviously the spinner was bad, but at least it was the first steps, right? There was really no one. There was, home built and small companies, not like a direct license machine. So the Asteroids, the Centipede, their first cabinets, they were not the best, but we gave it a little leeway because it was the first, right?
Yes. Yep.
And then they kept saying we're going to step up the quality, step up the quality. They never really did. They did, but Star Wars. I think Star Wars was the first
That was
cabinet
it.
where that was what the emulation was better. It was actually so much better. We didn't realize it because we're like, this isn't how it's supposed to be. And it turns out, no, that's how it was
Yep.
supposed to be. We didn't know.
Yep.
And then even the yoke, as made out of plastic as it was with potentiometers, it wasn't bad. I mean, I came out with mine. It's better, but theirs really wasn't bad. You didn't need to upgrade unless it broke. You didn't need to do it for any reason other than you wanted something a little more robust. But that cabinet was great. And then they came out, when they came out with Tron, and we went the whole story. I don't keep rehashing theft, but whatever. And they just kind of stopped. And then they didn't really get anything new. They were rehashing Street Fighter 50 times, Pac-Man 50 times. They had other cabinets too we don't see rehashes of, like not saying the Rampage was a great one, but there was Rampage. There was a Burger Time cabinet. There was a Sega cabinet. There was other ones that they had. You don't even see them anymore. And like the 12-in-1. The 12-in-1 was a good one. I still have mine. I modded it with the USB port so I can access like Breakout and a couple other games that were hidden in there.
Mhm.
And my throttle. So I made a throttle for Lunar Lander. And you plug it into the... Oh, sorry, Michael B. And Final Fight, yes. With Ghosts and Goblins on it. Yes. So it's just a shame they did that. But now, we're a little older. We're a little bit wiser. We want a little bit better things. And then there's the other scales, right? Obviously, we had, Super Impulse. They've come and gone, unfortunately. You had Basic Fun. They've kind of come and gone. You have My Arcade, which is, I think they're doing pretty good. I definitely like some of their cabinets for sure, especially the Space Invaders one. It's probably one of my favorites of theirs in pole position. And then you have like New Wave Toys. New Wave Toys makes good quality machines. And you also have Numbskull out there. So there's still lots of different things to pick from in small scales and larger scales. Now you do have Media One Up. That's coming out with a Street Fighter cabinet. Again, it's a rehash. I want something new. I don't want the same thing that people have bought 50 times already. I know some people really like Street Fighter. I get it. But I think I'm personally Street Fightered out. Like other people might be, Ponged out. I'll buy, actually, Numbskull's coming out with a Pong and Lunar Lander. I'm definitely going to buy both of those for sure. Now, do you have any of those other scales, Video Game Vegas? Do you have any New Wave Toys or Numbskulls or...
Oh my. Oh, and before I go on to that, I'll just tell you one thing about the one thing I was excited that kind of got the people aren't really understanding the Media One Up And I'm not talking about the actual cabinet. I'm actually kind of excited that for a lot of people in the community, because they wanted a bigger cabinet. Not for me, I like the smaller scale, but man, it was so great to see a lot of smiles when they saw that. But there's one game that is on there that people don't realize it's on there, and it's a game that never came to the US. And it's the one Street Fighter game that everybody has wanted here, and we got it in the on a console, but we never got the arcade version. And that's the oh gosh, what is it? It's called the Anniversary Edition. And what it does is basically when you start a game, you get to pick the version of the character from. It's like if you pick Guile, you can decide to pick the first Guile from Street Fighter 2, or you could pick the championship version of him, or you could pick this, that, and the other. And when I was in college, the big thing that was we would always have arguments about when a new Street Fighter would come out is somebody would say, "Oh, but if you were going against my Street Fighter 2, original Street Fighter 2 Blanca, I'd wipe the floor with you." And there was always those communications where basically everybody was talking about, "Oh, well, this character was better back in this game." This one solves all the arguments, and that's why they made it as the final Street Fighter in the arcade, but it only came to Japan. But enough about Media One Up. You asked about Numbskull and
Yeah.
New Wave Toys. So I originally wasn't going to buy a New Wave Toys because Arcade One Up came out. And I was like, well, why would I want one of these smaller ones when I could get the Arcade One Up? Well, the thing is that when I started building my home arcade, I had a happy accident happen. And what happened is I put my Dragon's Lair New Wave Toys on top of my iArcade. And when I started looking at it, I'm going, that actually looks like an actual full-size machine, but just back farther in my arcade. So it was playing kind of a trick on my eyes. So what I started doing with my home arcade, now that I don't have room for machines with full-size controls, I really have gone all in with both Numbskull and New Wave Toys. And
It's a drug, right? It's a gateway drug. You get hooked on,
yes,
right?
oh my gosh, Glenn, when I get to put out my new video of my new arcade where people will see all these new machines, I just got Burger Time, new quarter arcades, and I thought the Space Invaders was impressive because I
It
have both
was.
Space Invaders 1 and 2. But
Oh, you bought
man,
both
when
of
I
them.
pulled yes, and I bought Burger Time and I pulled it out of the box, and I can't tell you, Glenn, seeing it in person just blew me away. I could not believe the quality that they just keep on going up and up and up. New Wave Toys. I'm getting, of course, the your trackball with the Golden Tee of the New Wave Toys. I'm also waiting for Crystal Castles and also Black Hole, which we just got a new video on, which just looks fantastic.
You know,
But
it's gonna be nice.
I buy almost every single one except Michael B. He's here in the chat, so he's not going to like the fact I'm not going to buy Bad Dudes. But I am going to buy Lunar Lander, and I am going to buy
Oh yeah.
Kong,
Oh
and
yeah.
the real Ghostbusters is on my list. And New Wave Toys, I'm just blown away that they're going to be getting more pinball machines. This I mean, when I turn on all these machines in my home arcade, because I don't have them set aside in a diorama like a lot of people are doing, I have them all throughout my arcade. So when these all turn on and I have all these sound effects and screens going and everything else, it feels like there's more machines in my arcade. So it's not just something to place on a shelf somewhere. I've actually integrated these in my home arcade. And oh yeah, Glenn, I'm telling you, we're that's why when we talk about my arcade and we talk about these other ones, I can't go back. I mean, these were amazing. My arcade
Yep.
and those mini ones that we got that we were going to use as ornaments on our trees and everything else, they were great. But now we've been spoiled. It's like I just cannot go back to the. I think that my arcade should still go forth and do great things because people are not everybody's going to want these scales, and there's definitely a price disparity between the
Big
New Wave
time.
Toys and the those. But I'll tell you what, I welcome everything. I welcome it all, and even if I don't like it, I love seeing people get excited about certain about this about arcades, about bringing them into our homes.
That is, and sharing with your kids. And real quick, we did get a super chat from Hobby Hands I want to pull up and acknowledge. So Hobby Hands goes a $2 super chat. My favorite GRS purchase are the yoke and the Ikari setup. I think Blue agrees with you. Thanks, Hobby Hands, for the super chat and that. And Blue is always grateful. We'll get him a couple bones with that. So thank you. So Video Game Vegas, do you want to have some break up a little bit and have a little FU news?
Oh, absolutely. See, this is the next thing that I don't know. I'm getting the KVM switcher, right?
Yes.
So I don't know if I'm going to be buying the FU because it is in the bigger size. But the thing is that with Glenn, you never know what he's going to do next. So he may, if this is really successful, which I just know that it's going to be, you never know if Glenn's going to make a different size. So he may have one right up my alley. But I'm so excited, Glenn. Let's get.
All you got to do is just put the full size in a very cold room.
There you go.
So you got to do. It'll shrink it right up there. So, so you know what? I have the Numbskull Pac-Man. Before I talk about the FU, I got the Numbskull Pac-Man, and I have the Numbskull Space Invaders Part 2, and I love them. I kind of regret not buying Galaxian and a couple of the other ones because they are nice, but they are substantially larger. They do take up more real estate than a New Wave Toys or my Build-A-Cades. I already have, I think I'm close to like 60 Build-A-Cades and New Wave Toys units. Wow. I think I have the largest 1/6 scale collection on the planet, and I'm still going. I'm still building more. A couple things. Joe Sables will show some stuff from him as well. He's got some new artwork for the Build-A-Cade. But I'm going to show you, and you should give me your opinion on stuff I'm going to pull up here on the FU, and give me your thoughts on it. And let's see right here. So I'm going to pull this up right here. So here is the latest rendition, and this is currently what we're putting together right now. So the wood is cut. We have to assemble it. This is the FU version 2, which I'm hoping will be our production-ready unit. And you can see, we've moved the coin door up a little bit there, and we got the coin door. It used to be more in the center here. And you see this split here because you press this in. That's where your keyboard tray comes out with your mouse. You want to access it there. Now, this does have the Nintendo hood on this particular picture. This is what the hood looks like. And this is the marquee area. And this is kind of what we changed a little bit. This used to be pretty much all the way down here. It was so much larger. Better.
Gosh, Glenn, that marquee area, that's exactly what was my biggest, that didn't work exactly with my eyes. I was like, it just doesn't look exactly, this is just fantastic.
And Michael B will know.
Or is this a real?
This is a render because we're putting it together now. This was the specs we built this off of. But for P-dubs, you can see here I got 2 of the 4 very large rubber feet down there. And we don't have a lot of plastic, Michael B. It's mostly wood, but if there's plastic, it's a very sturdy plastic. I want to make sure that's put out there. It's a very strong industrial plastic. Let's take a look at the next photograph here. And you can see this does have the hood on it again, but it does have the Michael B edition. This is the Michael B edition with the 26-inch Unico display inside the cabinet here. Ooh. And you can see the ultimate control panel. And you can see the texture on the wood. So most people think it's just like black paint. It's going to have a nice texture on it. You can see the texture here on it. The marquee up here will light up with whatever you want. We'll have a generic one like a Build-A-Cade FU for all of you. But you can get something from someone else, or you can get the Al-Link, BitPixel, or LCD, Pixel-Cades in there. What do you think of this?
Are you going to have the changing marquees with a screen there?
It's built for it, so we're going to have Al sell it directly. But what we did was we collaborated with him to make sure that the dimensions, the size, the power connectors, everything he needs, and the Arcade OS is all set to go. So if you don't want to use the marquee that we include, you can buy it from Al. Just literally go in and it works. No special adjustments needed. It'll all be there.
See, and that's a big thing for me. Is one of the reasons I bought the Donkey Kong cabinet I did is they offered a marquee that changed. It was about $100, I think, is what I paid for it. And I'll tell you what, it's really amazing. Now, the problem I have with mine is that the build that they did, you could tell they probably just downloaded off the internet. with what I like you're doing here is that when you download a game to this, it's going to have all the art assets, so people aren't going to have to unless something has changed. I just thought that that's what I understood.
Yep, absolutely. And the whole
Sweet.
point of the whole machine is that it's very modifiable, easy to do so, but solid. I'm still putting out there. I'll say it every show. I expect Mrs. Kongs or us, and maybe even Kongs, to stand in the unit, and it's going to take their weight. It's not going to be. It's not
That's
going to split
awesome.
and crush inside the machine. So I like very high regards from James Hates Everything. It looks amazing. So let's take a look at another photograph, another render, and see how it's going to look. Let's go to the next picture here.
And I have a quick question, Glenn.
Sure, go ahead.
So the is the one thing that I hate about the home arcades that I have is I hate building them. I absolutely hate building them. But there was one company that actually made an amazing build process, and that was iArcade. And the reason that it was so well done, at least the way I felt, is the fact that it used the cam lock system. Are you
Right.
using something like that?
We actually partnered with a company that came out with a new interlocking connector, I guess you should say. Um,
Okay.
but we're open on that one until we actually assemble it, because we got to see how easy it is going to be to assemble, because obviously a lot of people have issues with that. So I
Sure.
will say it'll be solid. As far as the connectors, we'll have to wait and see once we build our prototype and determine on which is going to be the better way to go for most people. Cost is not the brackets, the connectors are pennies in between each other, but we'll see which is the best way to make this thing solid. But you can see
This is
here. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, this is I'm floored because the thing is, I mean, this actually looks like what I envisioned the FU to look like, because I just envisioned that the marquee was going to be corrected, the spacing and everything else. This looks like it could be an actual Donkey Kong cabinet. It just doesn't have art, and this is just, I mean, I'm kind of blown away. It's just I'm looking at my little Donkey Kong, except of course I have to have the small machine, but I'm just like, man, this thing is just, this is fire.
And that's the key thing. I mean, this thing is going to be under $1,000 for the 19-inch rotating screen, but it's going to be built like a tank. I mean, I don't think people are going to realize when they get this of how well built this machine is going to be. And you can see right now on the side, this is using the hood, and you can see it's just got a very. This will be completely hidden if you put auric on it, but there's a very. This is
Yep.
the hood part. So it's not like the Build-A-Cade where it's 3D printed and you have to kind of get it in there. It's designed to fit perfectly in there, so it'll be a smooth
Oh,
surface.
that's
People keep.
awesome.
There's some people saying, "Oh, you're going to notice the line." I guess maybe. I mean, until we actually do it, but it really should be fitting super snug in there. And now, right about here, there's one screw on each side that'll just lock it in place. And again, you can see the Unico 19-inch screen back in here. And I think it looks really good in black. I mean, if you didn't want to put artwork on it, I think the machine just looks sharp with the light up coin doors and the control deck. And then this will be lighting up top. I think it's just going to look like a beautiful, beautiful cabinet. And real quick, before you say anything, Meatball Sauce did a $2 super chat. So are we close to a Kickstarter, weeks or days? We're hoping to do a pre-order before the end of this month, Meatball Saucy. So that's the plan. Thanks for the super chat. So we are trying to get that done before the end of this month, and by June, July timeframe for starting to ship out some units. And just so everyone knows, we are still in talks, and we had a really good talk with somebody for our Canadian audience. So I've already talked about the shipping for $200 to the inside the U.S. We have a great collaborator. See, I'm not good with English. See, Video Game Vegas, a great collaborator that may be helping us deal with our Canadian friends. So that'll be another one to check off our list. Then we have to work on Australia and the European unions and so forth, and North South Pole, wherever they want to go. So we're still working very hard on that. But what's your take on this particular shot?
I'll take it. I'll tell you, I have never. I mean, when I first saw them, when I first saw the first renditions, I in my head, I'm going, when I was seeing a lot of the comments and everything, it's like, hey, just wait. You guys just wait, because Glenn is not going to ship something that's going to look like crap. He's going to make sure that what he puts out there, regardless, is going to not only function well, but it's going to look amazing. It's going to be built well, and it's going to be at a price that we can all join in on the fun. And I'm floored. I mean, even though I knew that it was going to look great, I mean, this is like night and day versus the pictures I saw before. So, but I knew that you were going to make sure that it is right before it
Big
even
time.
goes
The
on to a
big,
Kickstarter.
yeah, the big issue was that marquee area was just way off. It just wasn't right. So we fixed that. And real quick, Zero Redux posted a question: where are the speakers? So the speakers are technically behind the hood. So if you don't have the hood, the speakers are underneath the light up marquee, down facing. If we do determine that there was an issue with the hood, we may have to relocate them, but it's difficult because I don't want the speakers like visible in your face. So we'll have to see about that. But right now they are down facing in front of, or I should say behind that plexiglass. But we'll see how it sounds when we do it. If we have to make an adjustment to that, we will. Jason asked, will we have an option not to use chrome T molding? First of all, I didn't want the chrome T molding either, but I have to admit, in the black, it doesn't look kind of nice. But I'm working on that still. So let's put a pin in that one about the chrome T molding. My team really wants the chrome T molding, and I fought so many battles on it. I may have to relent, but again, it's standard arcade T molding, so it could always be changed out relatively easily if you did want something else. So let's take a look at the next picture and see what we got. I forgot how many pictures I even have on this thing. Just a close-up shot. So if we look in here, we still have the hood on it. So the speakers would be like right behind the hood. The problem is if I put it in front of the hood, we could do that, but then the light up marquee might be, you might see speakers in your light up marquee area. So that's where we kind of run into some trade-offs you may have to do just because of where you're going to put certain things. Donkey Kong would have had the speaker here, but we're going to have a keyboard tray that pulls out, and I've made some recommendations, maybe to have the plexiglass, even though this separates. Have the plexiglass, if you do like Donkey Kong, it actually goes up here. When you slide out, it just is not adhered to here, it's just adhered down here, just to kind of make it look nicer. But I'll leave it up to Joe Sabos and our graphic designers to figure out how to do that. And yep, white T molding. I know a lot of people are going to want white T molding for sure. But again, oh, sorry, go ahead, Video Game Vegas.
Yeah, I had the $1 million question because I wanted
Do it. I can't afford that, but no, go ahead.
So one of the things that I love about the because I don't love a lot, but I love the look of what Arcade 1-Up did with the deluxe and XL style Namco cabinets. But having said that, it was the wrong play because Arcade 1-Up, being the cheap and just throw whatever you want to put into a cabinet,
Right.
took what everybody thought was the greatest monitor of all time, the BOE, and they slanted it to such an extreme angle that it started having all sorts of horrible washing effects because it's not supposed to be displayed at that angle. Now, when I say BOE, I don't know if everybody knows, but basically BOE is not a monitor type. It is a company, and they have many different kinds of monitors. And Arcade 1-Up could have probably spent the money to put in the right version of the BOE into this. Now, I've seen that yours doesn't look as recessed, which is great. It's not as flat. Are you seeing any kind of issues with the same issues that Arcade 1-Up ran into with their deluxes and XL, with their extreme slants? Are you seeing that in the FU edition at all?
Not that we've noticed, but we made again some adjustments since the last prototype. So we're building this one now, and we got to test everything all over again. We're going to test the 26-inch, got to test the 19-inch, got to test the rotation. So these are all things we got to test. But the monitor we did have to pick one that was good at all angles, both horizontal and vertical. For that, because obviously that 19-inch is going to rotate. The Unico is very good with that already, but the 19-inch has to be good with that as well. So best thing to know is when we build this prototype, which is what we're doing right now, we'll know. And then we have to dismantle it.
Good.
and then we got to dismantle it and ship it to me here, so we can have some people take a look at it. I got to put it together and have people have some hands on and give them their thoughts on it. And of course, they may give some feedback and say, Glenn, listen, this is not right, or this is not that great. And if we can make some changes, we'll do that as well. That's why I'm saying we're shooting for shipping it in June, July. But if someone really says, Glenn, this is maybe a deal breaker, maybe something I didn't foresee. I'm not perfect. I'm definitely not perfect. I know some women in this world will tell me I'm definitely not perfect, and maybe some coworkers. But outside of that, I try. But I'm also open to people's thoughts and ideas. No comment is a bad comment. Everyone has a right to an opinion and state it. And I may go, you know what? That's a valid point. Or we can do that. Or I might say, you know what? It's going to cost way too much to make that change versus, what we would potentially be like a down versus the cost. Would you spend to buy an electric car? 10,000 is great, but 100,000? Yeah, I can get the 10,000 electric car and kind of be okay with 0 to 60 time in 3 seconds versus 2.1 seconds type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing that I was very happy about once I first got my first good monitor in my home arcade was the fact that I didn't want another eyesore monitor in my arcade because it's the one cabinet that sticks out like a sore thumb, which was, of course, Arcade One-Up's first Atari Deluxe 12-in-1. And then, of course, I suffered that with the iArcade Dragon's
Right.
Lair edition.
Right.
Luckily,
And you
with
should,
the
and a monitor is kind of a
yeah.
big expense. If you got to replace your monitor almost as soon as you get it, I mean, that's a couple $100.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, this is the cool thing. Buy Stuff Arcades have kind of saved the home arcade market with Arcade One Up because you can replace any of those 19-inch monitors,
Yep.
and also iArcade. You could they make
Right.
them ready to go. So
Or
very
you can
happy
even
with
go
that.
to like Tulsa arcades and upgrade to like a 19-inch. I
Yeah, buy
think
Stuff
19 inches
Arcades
is a
like
great
at the
size.
19s. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you
Let's
what, Glenn,
see.
this is
Good.
the thing that I really want to commend you on that just it's the one feature that blows me away and just made me go, man, you know what? Maybe I have to move my bed out to the garage because I want this FU edition. But it's that rotating monitor and the automatic. I mean, I couldn't believe I was like, how is Glenn going to do this? I said, yeah, we have that cool push out monitor and thing on that small little home arcade made by Sega or Taito. I can't remember who made it,
Right.
but basically, and when you said it was going to be
Oh, you talking about a
automatic,
small
and that
one? That was Taito. That had you pressed in, it came out, you
okay,
rotated and pushed in.
yes, and I was like, well, is he going to do something like that? No, Glenn had
No.
to one up that. He one up them so completely with not only having it rotate, but rotate automatically and per game that you're playing. And I just like it totally just threw this thing into the stratosphere. So I would even though I love 26-inch monitors, there's no way I would go with anything but that 19 rotation. That's what makes this thing so unique and amazing.
Real quick, I saw Zoo Redux asked a question, but I think actually Bill's Retro Show answered his question. But I want to make a little comment here. So if you buy, let's say, the machine with the 19-inch powered rotating screen, I believe if I can do it, I'm trying to. If you wanted to upgrade to the 26-inch, it would simply be literally pull the screen out and slide in the 26-inch. And if you want to go back to the 19-inch, I'm trying to make it very modular and easy to go back and forth. The 26-inch screen, regardless, you have to pull it out towards you, rotate it, and push it back in place. So I'm like, well, if we're going to do it anyway, we should make the 19-inch mount do the same thing. This way, if you bought maybe the 26-inch, but yeah, it'd be kind of nice to have a 19-inch, and you bought that separately, you could drop that in as well, connect it, and go. Again, that's not a promise, not in stone, but it's something I'm considering to do. It all again depends on cost and manufacturing and so forth. But if I can do that, you might even be able to not only have hot swappable decks, but hot swappable screens. Just find that out there. So I'm not sure if I got another photograph. Let's see if we have. Oh, did we even talk about this one? I don't know if we did. So you can see right here at the top. Again, they did this in the render. That's one of the handles. So this is the 26-inch screen fitting inside the FU right now. And you would put a hand in here, and there's another one down here, and you would basically pull towards yourself and rotate it 90 degrees and drop back in. And we will have a sensor back there, and it's basically a switch. And the switch is not triggered. Arcade OS knows you're in the horizontal position, and it keeps the games in that position. But if you rotate it, as soon as you press in, it triggers the switch, tells Arcade you now went to a vertical mode, and it will make Arcade go into the vertical mode. So even though it's a manual motion in this, the software in Arcade will still be self-aware of what position you're putting it in.
That is just outstanding. That's just amazing.
And you can see here, once again, the two drawers. You can see we have two USB ports in the front, like we did with the Ultimate Arcade for II Arcade. You want to put in your Sinden Target Pros or Sinden Light Guns or some other. I sometimes put in like NES controllers. I want to sit back and I plug a wireless NES controller in there. But this is the Ultimate Control Deck, and all you need to do here is literally just pull up. You're just going to take here, and just pull up and pull it towards yourself. Disconnect one USB cable. Take your next deck, connect the USB cable, slide it in, press down. That's it. That you could change out all your decks. And let's see.
That's really.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yes. I mentioned this is quite a few videos ago, or in some comment section, where basically I would love, and this is future. This is basically on the FU edition with the sides of the machine that have OLEDs that basically change the side art. This is
right
on this that version. Basically, when you swap the decks, basically pull the deck off, snap the other one on, and it has like an actual just connector. So
yes.
You don't even have to disconnect a USB. But I'll tell you what, the one thing that I did love about Arcade 1-Up is the one connector. You basically connect the one connector to the control panel, and you're done. And that's exactly what you're doing here, and even in an easier way because it's USB.
And originally, my original plan was use what's called pogo pins. So your pogo pins are basically on the back panel. You have these just gold-plated dots,
Yes.
right? And then the control deck have these spring-loaded needles that pressed on them. The issue is, since I want to make this available to third parties to make control decks and make it inexpensive still, if I went with the pogo pins, you have to buy it from us, you have to source it, it's an added cost,
That's
where
true.
USB-A connectors are cheaper. So, like I said, I have big aspirations, but even sometimes I got to realize for cost reasons and making it easy for other people. Let's say you want to make your own at home.
USB is fantastic. USB
right, it's universal standard. It's just one connector. I mean, it would have been nice to just slide the deck in and forget it. But that one cable makes it easy for anyone to make their own deck. If they want to modify it or to add something to it, pogo pins would just make it more difficult. So I relented on that one. I think that was a smart move.
Oh, USB is fantastic. That's the one thing that you are universal across the board. Everything speaks to it, and it is definitely the right play.
And here's just another shot. And again, you're kind of seeing these. You won't see these. These will not be here. I mean, you're looking at them now because it's just the render. These screws here. To be honest, this has to be removable easily in some way. Now, if the 19-inch, you wouldn't have to worry about it, right? Because there's power rotating back here, horizontal and vertical. But the 26-inch, you have to pull it out. So we'd have to make this somehow removable, or we have to figure something out with that. Otherwise, it would be literally removing the whole hood, which I don't think people want to do. To turn that 26-inch. But again, I heard a lot of people saying that the 26-inch, when you go to vertical games, it's a 19-inch anyway, so people may not even want to bother rotating it. But again, I want to have that option there if we can do it. And again, the deck just looks nice. All the glow of the volcano buttons. You can see the spinners. There's one spinner here. There's one spinner here. This is for your gate restrictors, right? So if you wanted to go 4 or 8-way, you could have the Viper Venom do it, or you can do it by hand. And this one here would be set for your monitor rotation. Again, the Viper Venom could do it for you, but if you want to rotate it yourself, you could do it here as well with this button.
And one thing about the control panel that I want to, since you had mentioned hot swappable control panels, which I'm so excited about, I want to see a version of this deck, a more expensive version. And of course, when I say Glen inexpensive, that's usually oil and water. It's not really a thing. But what I would love to see, and this is just throwing it out in the ether, is I'd love to see the more expensive model uh, feature push-pull spinners, also joysticks that have where you can just screw off the top and put on your own tops to them. Right now, the joysticks themselves actually screw into the board. It's not the tops that come off. And then the last piece would be the light up volcano buttons. But
Right.
that's
So
that's me dreaming.
those are all things that can still happen. Again, that's where we have third-party manufacturers as well, and
Yes,
we'll be offering
yes.
things as well. But we had it. There's an old thing. You have to put your stake in the ground, make your decisions
Oh,
for
there
like
has to be
your
a time where
basic
you
unit.
say, "This is
Well, the
it." Yes, exactly.
time, and you got to. What's my basic machine? Because I saw a couple of questions here. It's going to roll into that. So, where is it? Here it is. So the fourth horseman said, "What if we never intend to rotate the screen? Is there an option to not have the mechanism in it to reduce cost?"
Ooh,
Unfortunately, no. If you're buying the 19-inch, it's going to come with a rotating screen. That's our basic unit. If you don't want to rotate it and go for the 26-inch, you get a 19-inch in vertical or 19 in horizontal, depending how you put your monitor in. But the base unit is the base unit, and the base unit will be a 19-inch with the rotating. There'll be nothing below cost in that one. Of course, Zero Redux is like, hey, man, you can't pass up on that 19-inch. I did see
oh,
another question
exactly.
here about a plexiglass. Where did it go? Oh, Retro Randy. Boom. So if you don't have the side panels in, is there some kind of plexiglass over the monitor? Yes. So if you don't have the hood on there, yes, there's still a plexiglass over the 19-inch or the 26-inch screen in case you want to put some type of artwork on there. It also keeps your screen clean from dust and scratches, and it does protect it. So the answer is yes. There is still one there. Is there a cup holder? Actually, we do have mounting points, so you could, in theory, mount a cup holder. We have third parties, or 3D print one. Heck, man, why don't you spend money? You 3D print it. And I've heard other people, Meeple Saucy, talk about like pinball. Again, interchangeable decks. So you can definitely put a deck on
Yes,
there with
exactly.
pinball mechanical stuff on it. All these things are still possible with the machine. Do I have any
So
more
cool.
pictures? Maybe. Look, I have my little button here. Another picture.
I'll tell you
Oh,
what.
okay.
Oh
So
my gosh.
So this is
Wow.
Joe Sabos. He's making some more acrylic artwork for the 1/6 scale Build-A-Cade. This will give you an idea
Yes.
as well of what the full-size unit could look like, because he will be making, as well as 99, as Escape Pod and Arcade Graphics, making artwork. So
Oof.
even though this is the 1/6 scale version, it would definitely still work on the full-size FU. Just have to
Mm.
get, obviously, the right size. But this will give you an idea of what your machine could look like. What do you think?
It's a dream. It's an absolute dream. It just it makes you envision all sorts of possibilities, and that's the one thing I really love about this is that with unlimited decks, really. I mean, imagine it's basically up to the imagination of you and the third parties. These things are possible. All of this stuff is possible now, and people can really get the multicade of their dreams and beyond anything that's even out there right now. So this is fantastic.
Bill is funny. Can I order my Joe Sabos artwork now so that it might come in time for July? Now, that is very funny and mostly true, but I will let you know Joe has hired some new people on board. That was his problem. He had a few people start, and then they got ill, or they started and they left. So he's got some people now seem to be very reliable. So artwork shouldn't be as bad as it was before with the long time. And he also had some unfortunate family, issues. Family, got to take care of family first. So unfortunately, that also happened. But I think now it'll be going forward. But as well as Joe Sabos, he does beautiful artwork. You can see right here, this is acrylic. But there's also Arcade Graphics, Escape Pod, and many other people who are making artwork that, all depends on how much you want to spend, if you like their work, and so forth. And yes, I know you were teasing. So this is one thing that I'm definitely getting for my 1/6 scale. But this one I also was doing for a friend as well, which is this. Uh, it's a Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers cabinet. Again, you could make this in your 1/6 scale Build-A-Cade, or you can do it in your full-size FU with the hood attachment. So again,
Yeah.
just giving you guys ideas of what you could do. And I do know that Joe is also still working on, for me, Donkey Kong 3, as well as, there was another one he's working on for me. I can't remember now. It's been a while. It was, so we have the Mario Brothers, we have the Punch Out, It was a Player's Choice. Oh, Player's Choice 10. It was just a Player's Choice 10 cabinet. So again, it's up to you guys. The whole point of the FU is not only for the family unit, not only for the fun unit, not only for the full-size unit, but it's also for you guys to take it to where you want it to be. You shouldn't have me telling you what your cabinet should be. Make it what you want to be.
Yeah, Jason's just said Popeye, and that's the one cabinet I'd always love to have. It's I had to settle on the one of the five, and that was Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong 3, Popeye, or Mario Brothers. And I settled on Donkey Kong because it's almost impossible to pick between the five, but I will definitely always the Donkey Kong is the one I first saw, and so. But if I could have room for two, I would definitely have a Popeye.
Now, I saw Upka say lost audio. I'm still showing audio here, and
Yeah,
I see
I
when
still
you're
hear you.
talking.
Yeah, I
So
still hear
maybe Upka's just had a bad stream from the YouTubes.
you.
Now, one thing I noticed in this particular render, oh, he crashed.
Oh,
Sorry about that, Upkus. Sorry about that. One thing I'm missing in this render, so you see there's a little lock right down here, right? So this lock means that the door will open this way and expose, we can put your decks in here.
sure.
But this door is reversible, so you could put the lock
Oh, good.
here and open it this way. But in addition to
Yeah.
that, there's actually a lock here. So you can simply
Oh,
unlock the coin door, open that up, and extra coins. You don't have to open this whole thing up if you wanted to open the coin door. So there's a lock here, there's a lock here. On the back of the unit, there's a lock for the lower section, and then there's a lock here for the monitor and upper section back inside here. So we'll give you 4 locks, all included.
that's amazing.
People talk about free shipping. I give you free locks, no charge on the locks.
There you go. Or
So that's it.
actually, you do have to charge shipping though on this, don't you?
Yes. So for
Okay,
the continental U.S., as of right now, we've calculated to be $200, which I think is pretty good. So
that's
you'll be
actually not
talking.
bad.
It's not bad. I mean, remember, the machine's will be about 200 pounds.
Yeah,
It's not a bad price.
that's
It's not a
not at
bad
all.
price. And that's why we're trying to do the same thing for our Canadian friends. And we just partnered up with someone, and I'll be able to announce that soon. As long as we all agree, and I think we are going to agree. So I think we'll be able to help out Canada. And like I said, we're still going to work on other countries as well, like Australia and the European Union, to try and get the best shipping prices for this. Again, I know on one side of the coin is very inexpensive because I know what the quality of the machine is going to be. But
Yes.
$1,000, even $1,000, it's not pocket change. It's not money. You just go, $1,000, bam, and throw it out there. And that's why I'm making sure that this is built the best I can build it, the best you guys can ever expect for that money. If you're going to spend your hard-earned, I'm still saying around $1,000 because I haven't told you guys the price yet for the 19-inch, and maybe a little bit over that for the 26-inch. You are going to get stuff that's going to blow you away. You're going to be like, how is he doing this? And that's what I like to hear, because no one knows how I do this. And that's the best
Yeah.
part. I have some elves making stuff over here. But that's the ultimate thing. So it's still not cheap. I get it. But you will not find anything anywhere close to the quality of this, the features of this, the touches, the design, anything close to this. I'm being honest. There's no one's going to be able to touch it. There, I
Well,
said
your
it.
track record, your track record, Glenn, with all the products that you put out, and I own a few. And when I got your Star Wars yoke, I still have never. It's an interesting story. Is that the only reason I bought an arcade one-up Star Wars was the fact that you were bringing out a yoke, because I was like, I don't trust arcade one-up. They've already screwed me with 2 cabinets, the Atari Deluxe 12-in-1 and the Marvel Superheroes. But Arcade One Up ended up surprising us all and making an incredible quality machine. Which, of course, that's when I thought everything else was going to be that from now on. Which that was their height. They
Right.
never reached that height again. And I'll tell you, I'm definitely happy to see you selling something that's going to be quality versus me spending something on a commercial thing at that price or above and not getting the same quality that I thought it should have been worth. So I'm happy that you're able to make something, and you always have. You saved the My Home Arcade because of the products that you put out. And I'll tell you, the if I'm going to spend over if I'm going to spend I mean, I spent $500 on the Star Wars, and it better damn be good. But I know that
Right.
when you put this out, it's going to be quality. And that's just because I've seen your history from the very beginning, and I haven't been disappointed yet.
Well, that's the thing.
So
I'm only 26 years old. This is what this whole making these at this price has done to me. Been selling my years of life to build a quality cabinet for the price, and it's hard to believe, man. I have to have you on again. We're already at an hour. So before I end the show, Big in Vegas, anything you want to say? Anything you want to talk about? I'm gonna use the word shill. Anything you want to shill for yourself or someone out there?
Oh, it's interesting because every time that I make it very well known that you and I are friends. So I always make sure that people know that we knew each other before this whole thing happens. So
Yeah.
I always want to make sure because I want people to know that there's that background. So if you hear me saying stuff like I really like this, and you have that, you can have that speculation in your head, and that's totally fine. But I really do believe in your products, and I've purchased them and I've loved them, and that's me. But I do want to thank some people for I recently released my video for the At Games 4KP, and I did want to thank some people because it ended up being another community kind of driven review. My only other one was my Pac-Man Namco Legacy Edition video. And I just wanted to thank a couple people. Wagner's Tech Talk for always being just he just wants to make sure that the community knows about what these products do and everything else, and he always makes these guides, and he makes all of this he provides all this information to the community. Really wanted to thank him because his stuff did help me to understand what I was getting into.
Right.
Also, T McCloskey from Arcade Talk and Papa Brad's Gaming. Those guys had me on their Arcade Talk show. And even though we had differing opinions on stuff, those guys are just aces. They're just amazing individuals to be able to talk with and everything. We just had great conversations, and their input really did help with the shaping of the video. I also want to thank the Rexer Show and Kevgred because the one thing about YouTubers that I really like is to hear different views. And these guys talked from the other end of the spectrum when it came to these machines. They really wanted people to understand that not everything that you hear is going to be roses and great. There are some things that some companies do that really do need to be brought into the light. And they were able to help me find some documentation for the 4KP that had vanished off the internet, and they were able to find it and be able to provide it, so I had some context for a piece in my review. Next, I mentioned him before, P-Dub's Arcade Loft. He also was able to provide, his new shows are amazing, and he was able to provide me some information that I really appreciated, that I was able to add to my review as well. Jong from iArcade, the CEO of iArcade, the guy who brought us that amazing machine. I thank him so much in my videos because he was able to put something together like you did, Glenn. And of course, you were going to team up with him because you guys were on the same page about always treating the customer right, always making quality products, and really not treating us like numbers. Like we really were a part of this family that were enjoying these machines and everything. And I miss him, and I miss I hope that he does come back to the community at some point because the guy was just really cool, and I just really appreciate what he did for the community. And shout out to PD7, who I love I love his walk and talks, and he's always kind of showing the places that you can buy these machines, not just the internet wise. And he was able to show that you could actually buy the product I was reviewing in a store. So you could actually do it that way too. And I gave him a little Easter egg at the end of my video of the review for Act Games 4KP, which I gave his dog, which I love, Blue as well too, but he has a dog named Mr. West, and I had to give Mr. West a pickle score. So that's at the very end of the review. I with the review, I basically with all my reviews, I always put chapters in. So I always tell people, don't be afraid of the runtime. Because you can always get to the places that you really are interested in, or pick
I don't
up
do
where
that.
you left off with the
I have a
chapters.
20-minute intro and a 15-minute outro, and you're going to sit through it.
And the thing is, though, Glenn, is that's what makes it so cool, is that each of us creators have our own thing, and we
Yes.
all are able to show different things. If we were all the same, then you just need to watch one channel.
Exactly.
And the final shout out is to you, actually, Glenn, and I put you in my video, and I mentioned the FU edition because I really want people to know that there are the communities out there that that really is interested in products and interested in making products that you own. You do not have to bow down to a DRM server or anything else that you have to phone home to. And if things break down, you can't connect and play the stuff that you bought fair and square. The FU edition, in my opinion, is a step in the right direction because we sorely need more companies and people out there making things that we can truly own. And it was Jong's vision that even though things were digital, you owned them. And when iArcade went out of business, I have all those games still on all those machines, and people don't have to worry when they get the FU edition that will that they can be secure that they will also be able to still have all those games. They're not going to have to worry about you locking it or connecting to some server or
Right.
something. So
Right.
thank you.
That's
Glenn.
I'm
Really
surprised.
appreciate
I'm
that.
really surprised at that one that they pulled that move. You know, it's like those things. You know, they bring you into the ecosystem, and it became a really nice ecosystem, and then they started nickel and diming everyone, and they're leaving people leaving in droves. I mean, that's just not
Yes.
good. Not good customer service at all.
Yeah. So now I'm
Unfortunately.
waiting for now I'm just waiting for the FU pinball edition that is going to be on Kickstarter next week from Glenn's Retro Show.
Well,
No,
I have
just
that.
kidding.
Still have that 1/6 scale pinball, and I think it's only still not even at 7,000 views out of 10 I needed from like almost 11 months ago.
Oh,
But
sure,
there's always a
sure.
possibility, you know.
Yeah, you
There's
always throw
never
something against the wall, see if it sticks.
exactly. Well, Video Game Vegas, we'll have you on again. It was great having
Oh,
you on
that'd be
again.
awesome.
If you guys haven't done so already, go over to his channel. It's in the chat, also in the show notes. Go check out his videos. They're very well done. He's well spoken. He's to English as I am to non-English. I am the anti-matter English guy. But remember, as fun as all the stuff is, and as great as the FU is going to be, and you're going to get one, I know it, it's just fun games. It doesn't take precedence over family, friends, or loved ones, whether they're here or they've moved on. Just remember to always call and let them know that you love them. That's my shout out to all of them out there. I love you guys. I love them. Because tomorrow's never promised. But in between those times, what do we do? Get Video Game Vegas?
Game on.
That's it, my friend. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Gluing on cartridges, hitting reset. 8-bit dreams, can't lose that bet. Floppy disks and arcade lights. Pac-Man, Frogger, we're playing all night. Simpsons in the background, neon in the air. 80s vibes, man, we didn't care. VHS tapes, staying up too late. Saturday cartoons, can't wait to escape. Dial-ups humming, we're hacking the code. Back when everything was in upload mode. Atari, Commodore, pixels on screen. Living in the future was more than than a dream. It's time to kick it old school, turn the clocks back, break the rules. When the pixels pop and the world was cool, we're taking it back, that's how we roll, we roll. It's time to kick it old school, where the beats are fresh, the tech was gold. From arcades, TV shows that ruled, you know we're kicking it old school. MTV playing our favorite jams, moonwalking with MJ, neon slam. Ghostbusters gear, we're ready to go, chasing slasher scenes, fears in tow. Back to the future, hop in the DeLorean, Night Rider cruising, man, there's no ignoring them. Battlestar Galactica, what a ride. Looney Tunes antics, pure joy inside. Blockbusters ruled, we lined up for days. Video games booted up in the pixelated maze. Movie marathons and popcorn nights, we ruled the screen, living in the lights. It's time to kick it old school, turn the clocks back, break the rules. When the pixels pop and the world was cool, we're taking it back, that's how we roll, we roll. It's time to kick it old school, where the beats are fresh, the tech was gold. From arcades to TV shows that ruled, you know we're kicking it old school. Grab your joystick, the game's about to start. A high-score world, now that's an art. We're cruising on hoverboards, living our dream. Old school forever, we're igniting the scene. It's time to kick it old school, turn the clocks back, break the rules. When the pixels pop and the world was cool, we're taking it back, that's how we roll, we roll. It's time to kick it old school, where